Hi everyone, let's move on to discuss about the topic of Bnb. It's also called homestay. Bnb refers to bed and breakfast. Let's begin with the business of Bnb. As you know, Bnb is like a micro scale of hotels. When it comes to the management of Bnb, one important idea is that it is about the style of the owner of the Bnb. To manage a Bnb well, there are a few key points. First of all, begin with the literature. For people to know what's special about your Bnb, you need to create your own print literature. The literature represents your Bnb. You need to create beautiful and good literature because it directly impacts the sales of your business. The content of the literature needs to be useful so that you can use it as a reference. As for the Bnb brochure, generally speaking, it is an integral part because the content needs to be interconnected. You need to have a good appearance. Next, build your own Bnb's image. Next, about choosing the colors and paper for your brochure. It is important as the Bnb owner, if you want to use an indispensable color to create your own image, you need to pay attention to the production cost of printing brochure. If you choose paper with a higher density, it will create better quality. If you choose paper with a lower density, the quality of your brochure will be impacted because it might create folds easily and be torn easily. So pay attention to the values for the money. Choose paper with the higher density because you might want to post your brochure and so that it should be durable and easy to be stored. Next, one important thing about the management of Bnb is about the cost management. You might have only several, like 8 rooms. It's unlikely for you to hire many employees, so you might work with your partner and children. For example, as parents, you might think for the future of your children. So you want to run the Bnb and wait until the children to grow up to take over the business. So at the beginning of the management, you wouldn't hire many employees, and often you have to also provide catering business. It is very holistic business, but you want to reduce the cost, but you shouldn't undermine the quality because of the cost saving purposes. So when you order material, you need to compare the prices. For example, even when you want to print the brochure, you need to consider the quality of the paper, so the cost is higher. Sometimes you have to negotiate with the printing manufacturer. So you need to pick, for example, the ready-made brochure in order to control the cost of the printing. Sometimes it is negotiable. Next, naming your Bnb. Once you have a name for your Bnb, you have to register your name, business name of the hotel. First of all, you need to make sure that your name has not been used by someone else. That's why you need to register and trademark your business name to avoid confusion, and also it will be easier for customers to find you online. Satisfied customers can come back again. You won't create confusion to the customers or even be involved in lawsuit for having the same business name. Likewise, you need to use the artwork effectively. As the Bnb owner, after you have come up with a name for the Bnb, it's best that you also design a symbol suitable for the name. It's like a logo. The logo should look beautiful. It takes little space, have simple outline. That should be illustration representing your Bnb. A lot of Bnb owners like to print the logo that represents the Bnb in the brochure and also provide illustration in replacement of the logo. The government's regulation is that you need to have a logo or an illustration plus the business number. A beautiful symbol so that customers can have great impression about us. Even it's the same when you locate illustrations. Artwork involves copyrights. Unless you obtain the approval from the owner, do not use them without the approval. For the illustration without copyright, you can use it as it's open to the public. In this case, you can use a ready-made illustration that suits your purposes. Another way to obtain the copyrights of illustration is to approach to the university students who have the artistic talents and ask the student to design the illustration for you, and then you can pay them with some fee. You can even use a competition inviting university students with art background to design the illustration for you, and you can provide them with rewards for people winning the contest. So you can ask students to do that for you. You even do that for your brochure and literature. So try to find the right person to design for you. When it comes to design, you need to discuss with the designer about the style that fits your purpose and also is what you want and representing your hostel and Bnb. Here is a photo of a Bnb. This is located in Shu-Li in Taiwan, central Taiwan. It is a very beautiful Bnb. Say, if you can place a photo like this in your brochure, you can leave the customer with great impression. You can handle this on your own, but if you can't, please seek professional advice so that the brochure can look beautiful and nice. Another point is to do it on your own. As the Bnb owner, you can design the brochure and literature on your own to express what you want to say. Place the right element on the right place and print it out yourself. That's another way. The content of the brochure is another important matter. In addition to the Bnb's name, address, and telephone number, you might also want to put in the toll-free telephone number, email address, or website in the brochure. Before you print the brochure out, make sure that all the content is correct so that you don't have to worry about printing the wrong number, having the wrong content after sending the brochure out. As the Bnb owner, make sure that the information in the brochure is comprehensive and correct. You can even put information such as the room rate, reservation approach, and cancellation policies. They should be clear so that customer can know the ways and approaches. Next, about the stationery. Even though Bnb is like a micro scale of hotels, the stationery that are used at the Bnb can be printed with the logo, address, telephone number. Even it can be printed on the envelope and name cards. If they are beautifully designed, customers want to take them away. A good thing about managing an Bnb is that you can make a lot of friends. That should be a characteristic and trait of Bnb owners. So you need to consider the cost of using stationery in the Bnb. And for example, you might be very talented. In that case, you can keep some blank envelopes and you design stamps or illustrations. And then you populate the blank space on the envelope with all your creativity and then you can wow the customers. And customers want to keep this design work. Some customers feel especially strong about the Bnb just because of the design and want to keep the design. Let's move on to talk about where you can distribute your printed literature. Location-wise, you can consider local sources, often the tourist center of a tourist attraction. Because these tourist attractions are a popular sites for visitors. Another options are, for example, Chamber of Commerce or associations such as Association of Tourism. They are often publications for visitors to pick away. Often this literature are in various languages. As the Bnb owner, if you are a member of the association, you can ask whether you can put your literature there. Another thing is, even though Bnb is of a smaller scale, you need to have more visibility. Now that you have spent money printing the literature out, you can consider areas or locations such as hospitals, care homes, universities, churches, and real estate agencies. You can even contact local art centers, for example, because these art centers often invite famous people or performer to do performance locally. Often, these performers prefer quiet Bnbs instead of big hotels. So this is an option to consider, a place where you can distribute your brochure. Next, how to connect with communities. As you know, Bureau of Tourism often provide visitors with the latest information, including recommendation of accommodation, recommended sightseeing spots, and restaurants. Let's utilize resources like this at Bureau of Tourism or Association of Tourism. You can consider being published for information by these areas. We need to utilize information like this. In the meantime, Bureau of Tourism will publish many publications for the hotel owner, Bnb owner, free of charge or at low cost. You should utilize resources like this because with the brochure, event schedule, and maps, tourism can be guided completely. Often, tourists choose Bnb because they want to know more locally or get to have in-depth understanding about the local area and attraction. They will often sign up a half-day or full-day schedule, so Bnb owners should do homeworks for this. To be a Bnb owner, one important thing is for your Bnb to be listed in the guidebooks. As a Bnb owner, you need to know the guidebooks of Bnb before deciding which one for your Bnb to be listed in. When customers are choosing which one to go with using the guidebooks, they can see the introduction about your Bnb. That's the thing that you need to know first about which Bnb guidebooks there are. Every year there's updated Bnb guidebooks. There is a guidebook for Bnb published by Taiwan VIP Travel, an agency. As a Bnb owner, for you to gain visibility, that's one of the very good ways to be listed in the guidebooks so that your customers can find you easily. This is a very important thing to know. As the Bnb owner, you need to build lots of connections. Often, Bnb owners need to know a lot about the local towns, areas, regions, and to introduce them to the guests and visitors. Of course, the Bnb is the center. However, tourists want to know more surrounding this Bnb, so Bnb owner need to know more about the surrounding areas. How do you make your Bnb known by a lot of people? This photo was taken or given by a friend of mine in the UK. This is the breakfast guide in 2011. This guide is published on a yearly basis, providing a lot of Bnb in UK, including Scotland, Ireland, and England. Likewise, in Taiwan, we have like Bnb Association. There are different publications, especially focusing on the Bnb, so Bnb owners need to grab this opportunity. Some are free of charge, some are paid for. If newspapers or magazines covered our Bnb for us, it is not only free of charge but also creating long-term effectiveness. So one important thing about running a Bnb business is that the personal trait of Bnb owners should be open-minded and like to make friends, because a lot of times Bnb owners can know friends coming from abroad. Some might be painters, musicians, backpackers, and they can stay connected. Sometimes after you know these people, they are willing to cover your Bnb for you and create word of mouth and build reputation, and you don't have to spend a lot of money on doing so. As mentioned previously, you want to gain exposure and visibility for your Bnb. Sometimes you can buy advertisement in newspapers or magazines, but of course you need to have the budget for that. Make sure that your Bnb is advertised in the category of Bnb in the yellow pages or newspaper magazines. If you belong to a regional or national association of Bnbs, tourism bureau, or local chamber of commerce, you need to gain opportunities for advertisements through this organization or build alliance with our other Bnbs. For example, travel fairs are also a good way to gain exposure. So if you are part of clubs or organization, often the advertisement fees can be shared proportionally. So try your best to get coverage by the magazines and newspapers to attract people who are interested. So placing advertisement in the magazine is a very practical approach. With this kind of advertisement, you don't have to spend a lot of money and you can gain attention from other people. What should we do in off-season? Every tourist company will encounter off-seasons. In Taiwan, in wintertime, off-islands like Penghu are very windy. Most of the times, there are fewer visitors going there. As the Bnb owner, you shouldn't just sit and wait for the business to come. You need to come up with a way to expand your customer base. Making use of the off-season, for example, provide discount for people to stay overnight. You can also provide packaged products. So in addition to receiving your hospitality, customers can also learn craftsmanship. So sometimes Bnb owners need to be very talented. When a Bnb owner run a business, they create interaction with customers. Customers come to enjoy the accommodation but also learn something new. Often customers like this kind of approaches. So as the Bnb owner, do not deny your own skills. They are valuable. Sometimes Bnb organize events in the off-season locally in the communities. For example, raise funds for NGO or charities. In that way, Bnbs create great connection and have interaction with local communities. It is a good way to have breakthrough and generate opportunity and revenues in off-seasons. Next, recently we face pandemics. How do we do marketing in unsettled times? As you know, in the Bnb regulational guidelines, you cannot set up Bnbs in commercial districts or residential areas. So often Bnbs are only located in remote areas or countrysides. during this pandemic, you'll find that Bnbs are often the preferred places for visitors. Sometimes crises mean that there are opportunities to come. To be honest, after all, we need to get back to the basics. When time is difficult, when it is competitive, or when pandemics occurred, what matters is how well you do the basics. When you run business, what matters is how you interact with customers. A lot of friends of mine like to stay at Bnb. One British friend of mine always like to stay at Bnb instead of hotel whenever my friend visits Taiwan. My friend once told me that she stayed at Bnb in Hualien. The Bnb owner not only played saxophone but also cooked delicious food. With this owner totally win the heart of the customers, and customer would like to come back again every time the customer visits. I also witnessed an example once. A Bnb owner treat the guests as if their own child. There was an engineer who worked for an engineering project for 6 months. This engineer project took place in Shu-Li in central Taiwan. So this engineer stayed at the Bnb for 6 months. But once the engineer got ill, so the Bnb owner not only cooked the rice porridge for the engineer, but also washed the clothes for him. After the engineer recovered from the illness, this engineer kept introducing this Bnb to his overseas colleague who have to come here for a long stay. So this Bnb owner did not have to worry about not having enough business during off-season. So these are all the examples that shows the importance of how the Bnb owner needs to be polite, zealous, helpful, and even treat the customer as their own friends and families. Because by doing so, you do not have to worry about not having enough business, especially during off-season, because the customers would keep introducing the business for you and even promote your hostel and Bnb for you free of charge. Bnb owners need to be very zealous and friendly. Sometimes when the economy is stagnant or when it is off-season, the owners of Bnb need to create network to gather ideas to go through the difficult times. Often they have to create a network, join the local volunteer groups or join the community committee and create strategic alliance with tourist industry. So the Bnb owner need to be holistic, proactive, and like to make friends, so that when owners encounter crisis or are in the off-season, the business won't be impacted. As the time evolves, marketing through the internet is getting more and more important. Here are a few ways to do so. First of all, back in the days, you didn't have to rely on the internet, but nowadays, internet is essential. The first step to do internet marketing is to have the computers. According to studies, the Bnb's website and the online Bnb guidebooks are better at generating interest from new customers than the printed media and printed guidebook, because young people often just Google online about the reputation and the reviews of the Bnbs. So in our current times, internet becomes an important media. We need to learn how to make use of the internet to do the marketing. You need to have the computer system. In addition to buy the latest computer system, of course, some Bnb owners are older in age and might not be so good at computers, so it is good for them to buy a package or computer set. And alternatively, Bnb owners can seek help from younger people because younger people are better at computers. As far as I know, some Bnb owners are not good at computers. Often, they seek help from their children. As I mentioned before, the Bnbs are often smaller and only have 8 rooms, for example. They cannot afford hiring a dedicated personnel to do this because in doing so, they cannot have their cost returned. So Bnb owners often ask their children to help on this. And as for the internet connection, often computers have the Ethernet or built-in Wi-Fi. And often people transfer data through cable or make use of the Wi-Fi because the speed is stable and fast. Next, Internet Service Provider, abbreviated to ISP, is the tool for the Bnb owners to enter into the internet world and stay connected with the world. The ISP will provide the Bnb owner with the mailbox and, if necessary, a hyperlink for the website. The next approach is to stay connected through phone lines, but this is rather outdated and slow. Most people don't use phone line to connect to the internet. Instead, most people use cables or a digital subscriber line to stay connected. Another way is to use wireless fidelity, also called as Wi-Fi. It is leveraging the technology of wireless radio waves and allows hotspots for you to stay connected with the internet. For beginners, the fastest and easiest way to enter into the cyberspace is to pass on the information to the online Bnb directory service center for them to handle this for you. Some service centers provide service free of charge. Some charge fees for providing a set of work. The more services they work on, the higher expenses they will charge you. Their work include to upload the information of your Bnb to the online directories within a certain period of time. If you want to browse all the available online Bnb directories, you can start with searching for online rating services. Many online directories will charge annual fee and provide people to log in. So as the owner, you need to review the budget and control and track how many people are coming from the website by logging in, and it can be used as a reference for you to place advertisement on the directory. So as an owner of Bnb, you need to know a lot of things. The next step is to create your own website. This is a trend as well. If you want to know how high the penetration rate of Bnb website is on the internet, you can go on to the Google and type in bed and breakfast and have a look at how many search results there are. According to statistics, by using the internet, Bnb owner can gain more benefits, and using online travel directories to place advertisement should be part of the overall marketing strategies. Next one, about creating your own website. And also creating blogs for your business. Bloggers and blogs are very popular nowadays because it is an online forum for people to make comments. So key opinion leaders are beneficial for the Bnb owners when it comes to marketing. So if you want to create a blog, I suggest that at least you update contents at least once a week, even more the better. So the more active you are in managing the blogs, and the more people will be browsing this blog. But sometimes as the Bnb owner, you are older and you don't know what to do, you can ask young people to do it. And the next one is about universal design. You need to keep this in mind. Everyone uses the internet in a different way. We need to design the website in a way that is beneficial and universal for anyone.